Alrighty. Woo. Well, welcome everyone. And before I get started, Reverend Pat, I want you to know these flowers are in dedication to you and are yours to keep.
Well, thank you.
So, for those of you who don't know, I am Dr. Rita Webster, and I have the pleasure of currently serving as the board president here at Unity Minneapolis. Welcome everyone, and good morning. So, Reverend Pat, this one is especially for you. A little girl from Alabama went to church for the first time ever when she was visiting her grandparents in Michigan. When the pastor announced it was time for the Lord's Supper, she was excited and a little bit hungry. Then the congregation filed up to the altar rail, and the child watched in confusion as her grandparents received a wafer and a small plastic cup of wine. She could hardly wait to get back to the pew to tell her grandma that Jesus wasn't from Alabama. "Well, how do you know that, dear?" asked her grandma. "Because that was the poorest meal I've ever seen." Mama would have at least given everybody some cornbread and some sweet tea. Bent over and obviously in pain, an old man with a cane hobbled laboriously through the sanctuary and into the pastor's office while the choir was practicing. 10 minutes later, he came out, walking upright and moving with grace and speed. "Good gracious," the choir director exclaimed. "Did the pastor heal you by faith?" "No," the old man said with a smile. "He just gave me a cane that wasn't 6 inches too short." My theme today is faith that perseveres. And I thought I'd get us started with an affirmation. And it goes like this. Today, I honor my faculty of faith, whether it is as small as a mustard seed or as large as a mountain. Faith is the energy that carries me forward. It opens my heart to knowing that I am worthy of all good things, including more love. The metaphysical meaning of perseverance is to persist in the pursuit of truth. Through perseverance, we make connection with the higher realms of consciousness. Our Generations of Faith is a story of faith that perseveres. We have this building, this community, because those before us had faith that persevered. The first building was purchased during the Great Depression. We can only imagine the faith that it took to take out a mortgage when the Great Depression was going on. Then in 1973, Unity Minneapolis purchased this building and moved in on New Year's Eve. 10 years later, in 1983, they broke ground for the first major renovation that has served us for many years. And now, we're nearing completion of our own renovation project to this building. They came before us and they held the vision for a new space, very much like the vision we have been holding for our renovated space that will support the generations after us. We're paying it forward for others, just like they paid it forward for us. Our newly transformed building has been and continues to be an exercise in faith that perseveres. Challenge after challenge presented itself, and we continued to persevere. Together, we were steady rocks for each other as members of the board, members of transformation teams, and members of the congregation. We kept our constant faith alive and strong. We held our vision that a welcoming, spirit-filled, transformed space would be our reality. Faith is contagious. When one of us had faith that wavered, someone else would be steadfast in their faith. And we could and did lean on them. I know for me, our former board president, Nancy Merritt, was someone I leaned on a lot, especially at the beginning stages. There were many times along the way that major obstacles came before us. Faith is easy when life is going the way we want it to, but when something we didn't expect shows up, or something we didn't want occurs, our faith can be tested. It's not easy to stay firm with our faith. There are so many distractions designed to fuel our fear and plant those seeds of doubt. When we are manifesting something that's important to us, but it has not yet occurred in physical form, doubt can be a powerful and unwelcomed intruder. Questions like, can I do this? Do I deserve this? Can I succeed? What if I fail? Those can flood our mind, especially in moments when we are alone with our thoughts. Meditation is one of our powerful tools that Unity teaches. We can go within and access the divine wisdom and guidance at any moment, any time, virtually anywhere. And we have our Unity Minneapolis community that's always here to support us on our journey. And that community is now housed in our newly transformed and almost finished space. When we come to this building and connect with our fellow congregants, we keep each other from being alone. We know that fear finds its strength in the darkness or when we isolate. Unity knows the power of community to guide us on our spiritual path. There are many ways that Unity Minneapolis supports and guides us as we strengthen our faith and persevere with life and our spiritual growth. One of the many things I love about this community are the resources to help us hold steady with our faith. Every Sunday, our prayer chaplains are here, waiting and ready to pray with us. On Thursdays, Reverend Pat's book group meets here at 10:30. We come together to be in conversation with others, to read and reflect on books that support our unity principles. It's a consistent way to keep persevering with others who are also committed to the spiritual path. I know for me, every time I become part of the book group, my learning deepens, I get to know people on a deeper level, and I get a boost in my thinking, and it reminds me I'm not alone. At 9 o'clock on Thursday mornings, the Daily Word group meets via Zoom. That group reads and applies the daily word to what challenges and joys. You can attend from the comfort of your own home and in your pajamas if you'd like to. When life is cruising along and all is well, I tap fewer of the Unity resources. But when life throws me a curveball, I know where I can go to get the support I need to keep my faith strong. Faith is intrinsic within the mind of every human being. It operates within each of us, and we have the opportunity to continually strengthen it. If we want to master life, we must exercise our faith. We must say yes to our good by seeing it spiritually, holding it in mind, believing in it, and bringing it into manifestation. Today, we are celebrating and honoring our dear, beloved Reverend Pat. For 20 steadfast years, Reverend Pat has been our faith cheerleader, supporter, role model, and our rock, helping us persevere and keep going, especially when times seem tough. On Sundays, he goes out of his way to welcome us with his warm smile, a sense of humor, a handshake, and a hug. In small groups and in individual conversations, he wholeheartedly listens and shares just the right amount of wisdom and insight, so we have the courage to keep going in ways that might be new and serve us better. He has continually and consistently shown us that faith is our ability to see the possibilities of life. Faith sees ideas when fear wants to see disbelief. Faith sees opportunities instead of obstacles. Faith sees potential when fear likes to focus on problems. Faith sees abundance when fear seeks lack and limitation. Faith allows us to work with Spirit's omnipresent substance, which is infinite possibilities, and shape it into a manifestation of good we can understand and use in our lives. That's a pretty remarkable thing. Reverend Pat, we are blessed with your presence, your care, your leadership, your wisdom, and your love. I want to take a moment to share my personal appreciation and gratitude. This week, I was in Reverend Pat's book group. We're reading and discussing the book, Working with the Law. We were sharing different parts of the book that stood out for us. I watched with awe as you listened intently, made sure everyone was included, and then sprinkled your wisdom and humor throughout. As a group, we reflected, pondered, asked curious questions, and bonded as fellow travelers on our unique spiritual journeys. If you've ever taken a class with Reverend Pat, you know what I'm talking about. He has a wealth of wisdom from his own personal journey that he continues to deepen, and from his studies and experience as a minister. He has an amazing knack for sharing just the right idea at just the right moment that gives us insight and offers a peaceful path when our minds might be conflicted. He's a man who leads with humor, humbleness, care, generosity of spirit, and dedication to all of us who are part of his flock. It's hard to find words that express the depth of my gratitude and appreciation to work with you as our board president. It hasn't always been easy, but you have always been here with us. We count on your presence and dedication when the world throws us curveballs, when we celebrate joys and achievements, and every bit of life in between. We are blessed beyond measure to have you as our dedicated senior minister, sharing yourself with us, contributing in big and small ways to our spiritual growth as individuals and a congregation. Beyond Unity Minneapolis, you're known across the country as one of the all-stars when it comes to the national unity movement, and you belong to us. Congratulations on your 20th anniversary.
Thank you, sweetheart. No, don't do that. Thank you. Oh, thank you, and please be seated. I said to someone out in the garden court before the service, I usually have a joke, and I don't have one. And Richard Fillmore, of course, had one immediately, and he turned to me and he says, "This is what you need to say. You know, I'm 49% Johnny Walker Red, and the rest is water. 49% of the rest is water." And I thought to myself, Richard, you know, that was true of my life at one time, and it's interesting that Johnny Walker Red was, and I mixed it with water. But that was over 42 years ago. So thank God, thank God. They said, I do have a few things I would like to share with you. And when I came here 20 years ago, I didn't need these glasses either. That was amazing. But I do now. I want to read this, what I've prepared. Today is a meaningful and sacred moment, not only because we recognize 20 years of ministry, but we are celebrating a community that has persevered in faith. The scripture that's been with me all week, and it just would not leave me, and this is from 2 Timothy, the first chapter, verses 5 through 7. I am reminded of your sincere faith, a faith that lived first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure lives in you. For this reason, I remind you to rekindle the gift of God that is within you. For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power, of love, and of self-discipline. I love this passage because it reminds me that faith is never carried alone, that faith is handed down, faith is shared, faith is modeled. And when Paul wrote these famous words, he wrote with a sense of urgency, and he wrote with a deep emotion. Paul was near the end of his ministry, near the end of his life. Most scholars believe at this time that Paul was imprisoned in Rome, likely under very difficult circumstances and lonely conditions. Paul knew that his life would soon end. And Paul also knew that his ministry was definitely drawing to a close. Many of his companions had scattered. Christianity, or the teachings of Jesus itself, was still fragile. It was uncertain, and the future was not guaranteed. Timothy, meanwhile, was a young spiritual leader trying to guide a community through fear, opposition, and instability. He was discouraged at times, unsure at times, trying to keep faith alive in a changing and a most difficult world. So Paul writes not only with theology alone, but Paul writes with tenderness. He reminds Timothy that he does not stand alone. He reminds him that faith has roots. Your grandmother Lois, your mother Eunice, now lives in you. My grandmother Kania, good Southern name, my Kania, and my mother Naomi, the faith that they had now lives within me. In other words, faith, the faith that sustained those before you, is helping to sustain you now. And I feel like that is important for us to know today, because none of us arrived here alone. Someone prayed before us. Someone sacrificed, yes, the word sacrificed, before us. Someone believed in this ministry long before we arrived. And because they persevered, we are here today. For 20 years, I've had the privilege of walking beside this community through many seasons. Together, we have celebrated joys. We have endured challenges. We have experienced growth, uncertainty, change, building, rebuilding, and renewal. And through it all, the faith of this community has remained alive. That is what we celebrate today. 20 years of faith in this community remaining alive. Not the perseverance of one minister, but the perseverance of an entire spiritual family. Because ministry is never created by one person alone. Ministry happens every time someone chooses love, service, prayer, generosity, compassion, hope. It happens when people continue showing up for one another. Over these 20 years, I've learned that the strength of a spiritual community is not found in having an easy journey. Its strength is found in its willingness to keep loving and growing through every season and every experience. And this community has done it beautifully. There were times when things felt uncertain, times when finances were tight, moments when attendance shifted, times when the future was certainly not clear. And yet this community, you kept going. You kept praying. You kept serving. You kept giving. And you kept welcoming people through those doors. That is a faith that perseveres. The world today, I believe, is hungry for community where people can experience acceptance and love and healing and peace and a spiritual grounding. More than ever, people long for places where they can breathe deeply and remember who they truly are. I believe Unity Minneapolis continues to be one of those places. And that happens because people here continue carrying the faith forward. That is what our Generations of Faith journey is really about. It's about recognizing that what we do today blesses the future. Every prayer offered here, every act of kindness, every volunteer hour, every financial gift, every person welcomed with love, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. All of this becomes part of the spiritual inheritance we leave behind. One day, someone searching for hope will walk into this community needing healing and guidance and peace. And because we chose to persevere, they will find a light shining here. What a sacred gift that is. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of our Unity movement, says that faith is the perceiving power of mind linked with the power to shape substance. Faith allows us to see beyond appearances. Faith says, even when we cannot see the full path, Spirit is still at work. And I believe Spirit is still unfolding something beautiful within this community. Not simply preserving the past, but Spirit creating the future. The next generation needs communities grounded in love, inclusion, prayer, compassion, communities willing to stand for peace and healing and spiritual transformation. And I believe this community can continue to be exactly that. But it will require what it has always required, faith that perseveres. And perhaps that's why Paul's words are so important to me today. In a prison cell, uncertain about what would come next, Paul did not speak with bitterness. He did not speak with defeat. He spoke about faith that continues living through people. He reminded Timothy, you are part of something larger than yourself. The faith of your grandmother lives in you. The faith of your mother lives in you. And now it's your turn, Timothy, to carry the light forward. That's our story too. Long before any of us arrived here, faithful people such as Lila Rainey founded this church. It took faith to found a church in 1919. Don and Vivian Clark served here for years. It took faith to add this addition in this community. Our beloved Nancy Little, licensed Unity teacher. It took faith for her to step out and help new communities be founded in this area. Our beloved David Belton. It took faith. It took faith to work with YOU, to see so many YOUers, as he said, I prayed you in, Reverend Pat. I prayed you in. We could all name names, could we not? We could all name names that's gone before us, that it's taken faith. And this ministry was built with prayer and sacrifice, music, service, vision, and love. Most of them are no longer physically with us, and yet their faith still lives here. It lives in every song sung in the sanctuary, every prayer spoken, every child blessed, every grieving person comforted, every newcomer welcomed, every act of generosity that says, this community matters. That's the miracle of perseverance. Love outlives fear. Faith outlives uncertainty. And Spirit continues moving through every generation that is willing to say yes, yes. 20 years from now, someone else will stand in this sanctuary telling the story of this community. And I hope they will be able to say, they kept the faith alive. They chose love over fear. They continued building and building a place of healing and hope. And because they persevered, we are here today. That is the legacy, my dear friends, that we are creating together. Not simply a building, not simply an organization, but a living, spiritual home where people can remember their worth, their wholeness, and their connection to God. And so today, with deep gratitude, I thank you. I thank you for walking this journey together. Thank you for believing in this ministry. And thank you for carrying the light. May the sincere faith that lived in those before us now live fully in us. And may we pass that faith on, stronger, deeper, and more loving to the generations yet to come. I love you. I bless you. I behold the living presence of the divine within you. I love your faith, and so it is. Amen. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lord. Please be seated. Please be seated. I'm going to take just a moment. I didn't fill the music team on this, so forgive me, but people will enjoy looking at you. So I want to thank a few people that I want to thank. Not only do I celebrate 20 years here, but my spouse, Eddie, celebrates 20 years as well. We've been together 24 years and married for 15. Eddie, would you stand up? Sweetheart, it's taken a lot of faith, hasn't it? Wow, I want to also thank our current board members and all board members that have you all served at the right and perfect time. Current board members and all board members that have ever served, would you please stand? Yes, yes, yes. Whoa, whoa. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge our current staff members and those that have ever served on staff here at Unity Minneapolis. Would you please stand? Again, I want to acknowledge all credentialed leaders, ordained ministers, and licensed Unity teachers. Would you stand again, please, too? All our prayer chaplains and those that have served as a prayer chaplain ever, would you please stand? I cannot say enough for our prayer chaplains. It's the prayer that holds the foundation of this church. And so thank you for holding that for us. Would you also, all of those that have ever served within our music ministry within the last 20 years and beyond, Hiram Titus, Lori Dockin, Judy Bernard, Rachel Holder, the Unity Choir, the Unity Band, would you please stand? And now Patty Peterson, stand up. All those that are supporting behind the scenes on a Sunday morning. It just doesn't happen. All those with our ASL, also those that help us with live streaming, all those that in the soundboard and the lights. Let's appreciate you as well. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. All those that are serving on committees, they report directly to our Board of Trustees, with our Finance Committee, our Nominating Committee, our Bylaws Committee, any ad hoc committees such as our Building Transformation Committee. Would you please stand? Yeah. Now, you remain standing. Remain standing. All those that's ever volunteered on a team or a committee, would you please stand? All those that's ever given a financial gift, would you please stand? All those that's ever taught classes and workshops, would you please stand? Anyone working with our youth program, would you please stand? Anyone that's ever whispered a prayer concerning Unity Minneapolis and me, please stand. Anyone that's had a child blessing, would you please, I'm going to invite you to sit just for a moment. I want you to sit, please. I want you to, anyone that I've ever participated with a child blessing, or a member of your family with a child blessing, I would like to see you if you're here. Would you please stand? Thank you, and be seated. I would like everyone that I had something to do with, that you were married. I officiated at your wedding, and you're still forgiving me, some of you, but anyway, I officiated at your wedding, or I renewed your vows. Would you please stand? Jean and Mary, I think you were the first wedding I did when I arrived. Yeah. Jean tells a story of manifesting Larry. It's a great story. You'll have to get her to tell it. I can't tell it, but you can. Okay. I would also invite you to stand if I've had anything to do with a memorial or celebration of life service for someone in your family or a friend. Would you please stand? Awesome. Thank you. So I want to thank you for doing that for me this morning. What a difference this community has made in the world, just not within these walls, but outside. And I cannot tell you enough, you are Unity Minneapolis. You are Unity Minneapolis. When you're out in the world, that's what you are. You're a Christ child, I know that, but you represent Unity Minneapolis. There's someone that's come by and you say, wow, you're different. I go, yes, I am. I'm different. But you've got something. You've got something I want. And so, my dear friends, you represent Unity Minneapolis. Well, I've gone over, and I don't really care. So, I love you, I bless you, and I look forward to being with you in our reception following this service. Patty Peterson, it couldn't have been anyone else other than you. It could have been you.
Okay, I'm just going to put a button on everything you just said. We're going to.